talking to Harry Hunsicker, who is a best-selling author of 9 crime thrillers and numerous short stories. His latest novel, The Life and Death of Rose Doucette, was recently shortlisted for the 2025 Thriller Award, marking his second nomination. His debut novel was also recognized as a finalist for the Shamus Award. In addition to his fiction, Harry has written an award-winning short film screenplay about a hitman with an unusual twist. His story, The Butcher of Boquillas, is featured in the anthology Rough Country, edited by Reavis Wortham and published by Roan Weatherford Publishing. Welcome to West of the Page, Harry, and tell us about The Butcher of Boquillas.
I'm so excited to be here talking about this short story, which I had a ton of fun writing. The Butcher of Boquillas is about a deputy sheriff in far west Texas in the Big Bend region and what they call the Trans-Pecos region of Big Bend, who catches a murder case that ends up being more than he bargained for. And as you know, the kind of the requirements for the stories for the anthology were you get to pick a decade you wanted to set the story in. So I picked, well, I can't tell you what I picked because that gives it away. So I picked a very certain, I'm glad I caught myself and didn't give it away. I picked a very certain decade that becomes immediately apparent at the end. But I had a lot of fun writing this story. I've never really done a Western. I don't know if this is technically a Western. One of my earlier novels was, people thought of it as a modern day Western. So I had a lot of fun revisiting kind of that world of the rugged individual and the expansive area of the Western part of the United States. So it was a great experience.
I loved the story. I'm just like listening along.
Well, that's good. Thank you. I'm glad you did.
Let's talk about the story. Okay.
Let's talk about the story. Ask me about the story. Yeah. Or
all
whatever.
right. Well, let's talk about the setting. It's super vivid. It's very atmospheric. And you kind of mentioned this, but what drew you to this place in the story?
I always like to have a strong sense of place. I like when I read books and short stories and novels, and I like, you're going on a trip. So why don't you make it as real as possible? So I always like to give as much vivid of a setting as I possibly can. I set the Butcher of Boquillas in the Big Bend region of Texas because I love that part of Texas. It's one of my favorite parts of the world. There's something really primordial, and I don't want to get too weird here, but kind of mystic about the region. It's very remote. It's not very populated, and it's just captivatingly beautiful. And the story centers around this deputy sheriff in Brewster County, Texas, who chases a murder suspect across into the Rio Grande. And part of that was, last time I was in that part of the world, we went across into Boquillas, Mexico, which is, if you read the story, is a fairly accurate representation of what it's actually like. It's a unique experience. For any travel is unique. This is super interesting because Boquillas is as remote to Mexico as the Big Bend region is remote to the United States. And so there are these two just utterly isolated areas. And Boquillas it's just breathtakingly beautiful. The mountains in the background. It's an old, both Boquillas and it's across the river from Terlingua. Both of those are old mining towns. And so the landscape is rugged, and Terlingua, it's kind of got the surface of the moon effect because it's been torn up a lot. But Boquillas, you look back over into the United States across the river into the Big Bend Park. And so you see the mountains and the vegetation of Big Bend. And then kind of behind you, there's these phenomenal mountain ranges in Mexico. And it's just gorgeous. So that was why I chose that area. Long-winded answer.
I'm glad you shared that. I feel like I want to go see it now. As you were talking, I wondered, Are you often inspired to write a story when you see a beautiful place?
Yeah, I think that has something to do with it a little bit. Most of my stuff is set in Dallas. Most of my novels are set in Dallas, which is not beautiful. I mean, in the conventional sense, it's beautiful if you're into concrete, I guess. But it's my first novel. I was inspired by. I worked as a real estate appraiser, and I drove around to a lot of different places. I grew up in Dallas, but ended up driving around during my job to a bunch of different places I'd never been to in the city and in the area. And I realized there was so much more diversity to where I'd grown up than what I envisioned. I wanted to put that into a book, and that became a large part of my first novel. So in that sense, yes, the setting does drive a lot of what I write.
I love the idea of place and setting as actual characters in books and stories. So, but speaking of characters, let's talk about Deputy Scanlon, your main character. He has a strong moral code, but is forced into difficult choices. And I feel like you probably are used to that writing crime fiction. So talk to us a little bit how you built that internal conflict and approached it in this story.
So you don't want, you've got to seek out the conflict, and you have to seek out the situations that put your character in places where their code is tested. Otherwise, you're going to be doing Abbott and Costello on the cruise ship kind of writing. I mean, you've got to have some kind of depth, and you have to put your characters in difficult positions. And so I knew, as I recall, early on what Scanlon's decision was going to be. And I kind of wrote to that. And then I knew that with the setting, it is a twist about the ending. So I knew that, the twist. And so that informed how I created that character.
You mentioned the ending,
Yes.
which is intense and morally ambiguous. So did you always plan for it to unfold that way, or did it evolve as you were writing?
I always planned for it. Maybe not with so much intensity, but I knew there needed to be some resolution to what happened to Cody Scanlon, and I realized once I got into it that there was only one resolution, and I don't want to say what it was because it is intense, and it shows that it's a bad world out there, and so I wanted to show people that.
And I really think you do, especially like this partnership between Scanlon and Luis. It's really tense, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And super complex. So what interested you about exploring that cross-border dynamic?
I'm drawn to border regions. I'm drawn to the border. I think it's just interesting because it's not, the border between the United States and Mexico. It's not, if you're down there and you're on the United States side, it's not really the United States, and you're on Mexico side, it's not really Mexico. It's its own third thing. It's this kind of interesting, different part of the world. So I was drawn to that, and I liked the idea of two guys who were on the same side doing the same job but from different worlds, and how they would interact, and how Luis is a federal police officer in Mexico, and so they have to. And Scanlon is a deputy sheriff in Texas, and so they have differences, but they also have a common goal, and so they have to put aside their differences and work together, and it's tense. It's tense for both of them. Another thing that drew me to the border region was one of my favorite movies from 96 or 97 was Lone Star, starring Matthew McConaughey and who else was in that? Do you might know? Do we see it?
I can Google.
Christopherson, maybe. I can't remember. It's a great film. It's a murder mystery set. I don't think it was in Big Bend, but kind of maybe the Rio Grande Valley. But it was on the border, and you have to go back and forth. The detective, the sheriff has to go back and forth to try to solve the crime. And so I just love that movie. And then there's another film that I really love called The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada. Really weird title, great film. It was, I think, Tommy Lee Jones' directorial debut, and he starred in it. And it's a border thing, and then he has to go into Mexico to take Melquiades Estrada's body back to his village. And I won't say any more, but it's a wonderful movie, and it's got a strong representation of the border area, not just one side or the other, but
You have to add both of those to my watch.
Wow.
I feel like movies in the 90s are great. So
the 90s were a good period.
yes, they were.
Period for movies, yes.
And you were right. It is Chris Christopherson and also Chris Cooper.
Chris Christopherson, and Matthew McConaughey.
Is it
Yeah.
Frances?
McDormand, she is in it for about a nanosecond. Yeah, she's got a very small role in it. Yeah, I think that might be her first movie role. I can't remember.
Interesting. Yeah, it looks like a good one. Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, speaking of movies, and all movies have good themes and stuff, and your themes in this story are really about justice and corruption, and how the rules kind of break down, right?
Right.
So what were you hoping readers would take away from these themes?
I want them to take away that it's hard to be a law officer. I would like for a reader to take away some of the issues and the pressures that a law enforcement officer faces on a daily basis. Certainly when they're investigating a case like this.
How does it feel to have your work in an anthology that's contributing to real life U.S. Marshals? And
yeah, it feels great. I think I'd like to do what I can. I think they sometimes get something of a raw deal in public perception. I'm happy to do what I can to, in a little way, in a small way, support them.
I'm always curious how, when we've been talking to a lot of these authors, how they got, I like to say, roped into it by Reavis.
How did I get roped in? He just emailed and said, "You want my story?" I said, "Okay, I'll do that." Yeah. He's a good guy, and I always enjoy being around him. So I was happy to participate, and it raising money for a worthy cause is also that's also a plus.
Yeah. Yes. So have you known Reavis long?
Yeah, I have. I don't know how long, but years. Yeah.
Years.
Yeah.
In the writing community and
the writing community. Yeah.
In Texas as well.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's in my part of the world. I mean, he's not in Dallas, but he's just north of Dallas.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a big state, so
it is a big city, big state. Yeah.
What do you have coming up? We have the anthology, but what do you have coming up too?
I have a book coming out in October. It's called Mother May I. Here's what the cover is going to look. It's going to be bigger than this. This is what the cover is going to look like. It's about a former CIA agent who finds out that her long missing daughter may still be alive in the lake she goes to find her only child. I envisioned it kind of a Taken meets John Wick kind of a thing, because the CIA agent has a particular set of skills, and she goes on this cross-country romp looking for her daughter, who she has thought has been dead for years, and now she finds out she's not, or thinks she's not, and tries to uncover the truth.
Well, so I love that idea, of John Wick, Taken,
right,
but
right,
from the female perspective. So what made you think,
I don't know where that came from. I just wanted to do something a little different, and I thought, it's someone's looking for their child, and it's
it's going to matter a lot to a man, to the father, but it's going to matter on some levels a little more viscerally to the mother. So I thought, well, let's try this from the mother's point of view, from a woman's point of view. And here I am. Now, I've never written anything from a woman's point of view. I've done a short story from a woman's point of view, but I've never done a novel. So fortunately, I had a lot of very kind and patient women who read it and said, "Well, you're not doing this right," and gave me a lot of good notes. And I incorporated them, and hopefully it rings authentically.
Awesome. And you said October?
October 13th, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah. Sign up for my newsletter on my website if you want to find out more.
And what's your website?
It is harryhunsicker.com. That's HarryHunsicker.com.
Because you told us about Mother May I, tell us about your awards and nominations for your other work.
So this book, The Life and Death of Rose Doucette, was nominated last year for a thriller award, which I was pretty astounded that that happened. That kind of blew me away. That made for a happy day.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's about the story of Rose Doucette is about a private detective who's forced to partner with the man who broke up his marriage. And the reason he's forced to partner with that man is because someone has killed his ex-wife. And whoever killed the ex-wife is after both of the husbands, thinking that maybe they know something the wife told them. So these two guys that hate each other with good reason have to put aside their considerable differences and work together and find out what the woman they both loved, what she was up to that they didn't know about. And so they both peel back the onion of her life and learn about her and solve the crime at the same time.
Wow. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I think so too.
And your very first novel was a finalist for the Shamus Award. Tell us about.
Yeah. Still River was my first movie. Came out 21 years ago this May. And it's about a private detective in Dallas named Lee Oswald. Now, he's no relation to Lee Harvey Oswald. His name is Lee Henry Oswald. And so that's just kind of the cross he has to bear. But he's a hard-boiled private detective working the streets of Dallas.
And you've had, it says, 9 crime thrillers.
Yeah. Mother May I is going to be number 10. I cannot believe it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How long have you been writing? What got you into writing?
So my first book came out in 2005. I started writing 2002, I guess. I've always been a huge reader, and writing comes from reading. So I filled up with a bunch of words and realized at some point I wanted to let some out. So I knew for a long time I wanted to do it, but it took forever to kind of get your head around writing and how does this work? Do I really want what? What is writing? What's writing a book? What does all this mean? So, but I finally got to a point where I got to an age where I realized you only have a finite number of years left. When you're young, you think, this goes on forever. I mean, but then you get to a point of like, well, no, it doesn't. So I took a couple classes at the local college here, continuing education classes in creative writing. And that set me on my path.
And then when did you started in 2002. So that was a quick learning curve.
Yeah, it was. When I think about it, maybe I started in 01. I can't remember. Maybe it was 01.
Mm-hmm. Still very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you, with your first novels, did you get an agent right away or did you go small press?
I got an agent and I went that route. I bounced around. I'm with a small press now, but I've had several different publishing homes.
Oh, okay. So you started, you got in quick, and now you kind of run the entire gambit of publishing.
I have. I've been around.
Well, after Mother May I, what's next?
I'm working on another one after that. I'm like 40 pages into it, so it's barely a thing yet, but always keep going.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
hanging
you.
out tonight.
A lot of fun.